Welcome into another edition of the Fantasy Football Power Hour brought to you by the SBFFC. I am your host, Seth Burchett, or the Phoenix Rocket on all forms of social media, joined by my co-host and partners in crime on Friday nights, Mr. Chuck Ellis, and the good doctor, the commissioner of the Southern Bluegrass Fantasy Football Championship, what you hear us refer to as the SBFFC, the creator, Dr. Brian Harwood, and joined by apparently the vice president I was made aware of. I don't think anybody else was on the ballot for that one, but Mr. Matt Krantz. Guys, how's it going tonight?
Good evening, pretty well. Happy Friday.
It is a great night to talk football, as we do every Friday night here on the TN2M network of shows. Special thanks to them for allowing us to come on every Friday and hijack their over 100,000 subscribers to talk fantasy football and pro or betting props. So I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about that. Guys, last night, a bit of a surprise, I think, to a lot of people in the NFL worlds or fans of the NFL. And the Jackson Dart coming out party, I feel like, happened last night. Chuck, I know I saw a long Facebook post from you about Jackson Dart and the Giants. And as a Commanders fan, that's got to be frustrating to see that. And without his best weapon offensively, still putting up great numbers as he did last night as well. Thoughts on the game last night and Jackson Dart as a whole moving forward through this fantasy football season, but also into next year's fantasy football season?
Yeah, like you said, as a Commanders fan, it was bittersweet watching that game last night. As much as I love to see the Eagles implode, and they are imploding, and if we're being honest, they should have lost 3 in a row. I found myself rooting for this young team that New York had on the field. I mean, these guys were playing with energy. It was infectious. Even on the defensive side of the ball, Burns and Carter, I mean, these guys were playing hard, and the Eagles were just falling apart. And you can see it. They're falling apart from the inside out. It's like a disease. It's like, you throw a bad apple in a barrel. The rest of the apples will rot, which are the players, and then eventually the barrel will rot, which is the Philadelphia Eagles. But I think Jackson Dart has that it factor. He's exciting, and him and that kid Scadaboo are no joke. And I enjoyed every single second of watching that game last night.
Me too, Chuck. Cam Scadaboo being a 4th round pick was just fraud. I mean, I told Harwood about him a year ago, just seeing what he did at Arizona State. Unbelievable he fell to the 4th round. I mean, that guy is a powerhouse, just a wrecking crew on what he does. It was so great to watch, Chuck.
I agree.
I
could not go to bed. I had to watch the whole game. And look, I'm sporting a Sean Taylor throwback for the Commanders, but I found myself rooting for the Giants against the Eagles last night.
I ended up rooting for the Giants, but only because I'm a UK fan and Wan'Dale Robinson has football life again, and that's kind of nice to see.
Kentucky, woo!
That's one of Governor Andy Bashir's favorite players, Frankfurt and everything. Now, I won't say this, but Mr. Jackson Dart, he had the energy. He got hit, and he got hit hard by the Eagles. You notice he came back in that ball game and lit him up after that, shook it off.
Yeah.
And came back in.
He's a tough kid. And, if you watched him last year at Ole Miss, you saw that as well, because the SEC also no joke. Now, they're not the NFL, but they're about as close to it as you can get in college football in terms of hard-hitting teams and defenses. And it happened all last year at Ole Miss. He didn't have the best protection at all times last year, and so his toughness, I think, showed out even before he got to the NFL, Dr. Harwood, and did so at the college level as well. But we're certainly seeing it now in the pros. I mean, he's one of those classic takes a licking and keeps on ticking.
Well,
If he can stay healthy, I'm going to throw this out, guys. I know this is bold, but I think the guy has it. He just has it. And I'm going to compare him to Patrick Mahomes right now. I think he's it. I think he's a man. I think he cannot take – he's going to have to learn to not take those big hits in the NFL. It's not the SEC, sorry. He's going to have to learn how to take those hits, but the guy has the it quality, and sky's the limit, this kid. I mean, he's unreal.
I'm gonna throw a flag on that just because I think it's too early to make comparisons to Patrick Mahomes at this point. I mean, we're only 2 games into his young career. I'm not saying that he's not gonna be as good as Patrick Mahomes. I'm just saying I think it's too early to make those comparisons. He's played really well
around him. I mean, I'm just saying, like, individual level quarterback. I mean, you have to have everything else. I'm just saying. I'm not comparing him to Andy Reid or the Chiefs, who they have around him. Individually, the kid has it. That's all I'm saying.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, defenses haven't had the opportunity to adjust to what he does. I mean, we're 2 games in to his career as a starter. I just don't know that we can make those comparisons yet based on 2 games. He has the intangibles. It seems like he's going to have a better supporting staff around him, especially next year when he gets Neighbors back. But I don't know. I mean, it's hard for me to make those comparisons, especially when you're going to have NFL defenses that are going to figure out what he does well and what his weaknesses are. And once they get good film on him at the NFL level, that's when you start to see, do they have it or do they not? And at this point, it looks like he does, but I'm thinking we need to wait a few weeks before, or even the rest of this year before we make those type of comparisons. And going into next year, who knows what that looks like? Who knows what the quarterback class is going to look like for fantasy football next year? But it sounds like he's a guy that you would want on your team next year. I mean, is he a guy that you draft to be your number 1, or is he somebody that you just want on your bench and streamline of those plays?
Well, I'm going to say this. I think if Jackson Dart stays healthy, he will be a top 10 fantasy football quarterback in drafts next season. I've seen some shades of Jaden Daniels. I've seen some shades of Lamar Jackson with Mr. Dart. He's got to stay healthy. I'm afraid that he's a concussion away from missing a couple games. Well, I thought he missed last night, but I'm impressed that
could be anybody, though. But yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, but I mean, you mentioned shades of Jaden Daniels, and Chuck, I'll bring you into the conversation here. Jaden Daniels hasn't looked as good this year as he did last year, and I know injuries play a part in that, but I mean, he was phenomenal last year, and we were having these same conversations last year about Jaden Daniels, and this year, minus injuries, it feels like he has come down to earth a little bit, or perhaps it's that NFL teams have figured out this is what he does well. This is what we can expose. This is where we can bring him back down to earth. Chuck, is it too early, or are we having the right conversations about Jackson Dart?
It's obvious the kid has talent, and he's a competitor. And I've never seen a quarterback, especially as young as this guy, the way he moves subtly in the pocket. It looks like he's moving in slow motion, but everybody's moving around him. These guys got to create their own identity first before they can resemble somebody else. Second year for young quarterbacks is always the hardest year. I mean, you had CJ Stroud come out and absolutely blow numbers off the chart, and he comes screaming back down to earth. These guys get on film. They have different schedules the next year. Injuries play a part of it. Jaden Daniels is having a little growing pains. But like I said, this guy, you can see it. He is a competitor, and that's half the battle is competing. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can and can't do. He's going to have growing pains, but I think this kid could be the real deal. He is stellar to watch.
Okay.
I'm just going to throw it out there. Part of my critique of Jackson Dart is sour apples because I wanted the Browns to draft him, and New York traded. The Browns had him very high on their radar and was going to, I think, probably take him and hope he fell to the second round, and they got leapfrogged. And now I'm stuck with Dylan Gabriel, who looked okay, but not to the level of Jackson Dart for sure.
And the NFL is dying right now for quarterback. I mean, quarterback play is just – it's not been good. You can blame the offensive line. We've got some really weak offensive linemen right now. The NFL is struggling. We need there's got to be a couple who emerge and take the torch, because right now the quarterback play has been pretty awful this year.
Well, and injuries have played as much a part of that too. I mean, how many? It feels like every week there's somebody new going down to injury. Lamar Jackson, Brock Purdy, Joe Burrow. I mean, it has been a who's who of injuries on ILs across leagues all over the world. People are stashing Joe Burrow, and Lamar Jackson has been ruled out again for this week. Brock Purdy, who knows if he's going to play or not? I think everybody's hurt in San Francisco except Christian McCaffrey, which there's a lot of irony in that, I think. Yeah, the only guy that's not hurt in San Francisco is Christian McCaffrey. Who had that on their bingo card?
Well, the NFL, National Fake You Out League.
Well, I'm going to say this. Matt has got a point about this offensive line. So there's about 7 or 8 NFL teams that have a decent offensive line, and they're the ones that have been scoring. And I like what Jerry Backshaw said. He remembers the SBFFC. Dart has the highest SPS score of all time. That's something to consider, especially after 2 games. SPS score.
I'm not saying the kid's not going to be great. He has shown that he has that ability early on. I just think we should pump the brakes on how good he is until we see a couple of years of it. Now, that's not saying we shouldn't draft him next year in leagues, but I don't know that I'd be comfortable with him being my QB1 going into teams next year. Maybe in a super flex, he's my second quarterback. But in terms of looking at this year and next year, I just don't know that we can put him on that pedestal just yet. Could he be? Absolutely. He's got the intangibles. We just have to see it, or at least I have to see it more consistently before I move him up my draft boards moving into next year.
It was so funny with Russell Wilson when he came in. Threw that pass.
Straight in the dirt.
Threw him off the field. And I was like, yes, let's go. I love that.
It was like John Cena getting booed at the ECW pay-per-view. Cena wins, we riot. And this is clearly Jackson Dart's team.
Yeah.
And he's got to play Dallas again. He's got to play Philadelphia again. He's got to play.
He plays the Eagles in 2 weeks, so he's got. Yeah. We're gonna do it again quick.
That NFC North, no NFC East. Excuse me. Yeah. The NFC East does not play defense, especially Dallas Cowboys.
No, the Cowboys defense is terrible.
Yep.
And Prescott in a shootout, and
the Redskins are struggling too. So yeah. He's got.
They're all struggling. Yeah.
Boys, this might be a beginning of a new team in the NFL that's going to be consistently in the playoffs for the next few years. We got Scatterboo. I call him
Scatterboo.
Scatty Boo Boo. 3 touchdowns last night. So
31 fantasy points.
I'm in an NFFC silver bullet. I'm 5th overall in the standings out of 264 teams because it's Cam Scatterboo that I benched Sam Laporta to play Scatterboo. And I've already got John Taylor, James Cook on that team.
It's a good team.
That's a really good team.
That's
5th overall.
That's a fraud. He fell to the 4th round. I still can't get over it.
Well, there was some off the field concerns with him. I think going into it, I know he got cleared of whatever it was, but I know that was kind of the talk that was pushing him down some draft boards and maybe off some draft boards. I don't know.
Well,
yeah,
no, but
you never know the background checks, but still, the dude is a football player. He will go through a brick wall. The guy is really fun to watch.
Tyrone Tracy was a starter last year, did a good job. There was a lot of people last night, including yourself, that said, is Tracy back? Can Scatterboo do it? This is clearly Scatterboo's team.
Last night, your good point, Harwood. Last night showed us that Tracy is off to the side.
Mm-hmm.
It's Cam Scatterboo's team.
The only reason why you need to have Devin Singletary or Tyrone Tracy on your fantasy team is if you've got Scatterboo.
Yes.
That's the only reason.
Yeah. And I'm not saying we're missing Jalen Carter. Yes, we know they have some injuries. Okay, but still, Scottaboo has been. This is the third week now where the dude looks legit.
He was legit last week too.
Yep.
And boys, I have Scottaboo in the SBFFC main event. Drafted him after round 10 last year. And this is during the point where I could still be drafting instead of having to worry about silent auctions and raffles. I played my opponent last week. My opponent, not last week, yesterday. I'm thinking last week is done. My opponent, Ralph Shield on Suncoast, a very credible fantasy football owner in the high stakes world and the SBFFC, started Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown, who A.J. Brown had a decent game finally. We won his bet prop finally. A.J. Brown came out. Hurts and Brown, 37.62 fantasy points. Scatterboo had 31. So I'm one up on Mr. Shiavon right now. And I've got Genty and A-Chain as my starting two other running backs and Ted McMillan, wide receiver.
You want to talk about coming out parties? I mean, Ashton Genty has finally started to show signs of life. I mean, and it's funny, I saw on Twitter or X or whatever it's called now, people were kind of joking that his stance changed, that he started doing that stand-up thing that he does, and that is the reason. Clearly, I don't think that's it, but he showed that he was capable of being an RB1 in fantasy lineups and had a fantastic couple of weeks.
He's getting ready to run for 300 against the Titans, so it's coming.
I mean, are you saying that's the fan ball play of the week is Ashton Genty?
Yeah.
Seth, remind me.
All over the Titans.
Remind me, I've got to send you that link for your $20 bet that you won off. Isaiah Bond had 007 fantasy points till the 9 seconds left in the game.
Well, I called Addison too. Addison, and it is fun. The last catches that both of them got them over. It was looking a little fuzzy there toward the
dicey.
end.
Dicey.
Yeah, dicey. That's the word I'm looking for.
Dicey.
So but they came through.
That proves for those who play same game parlays, it ain't over until that final. Game.
Well, I mean the Bond Isaiah Bond got his on a garbage pass at the end of the game.
At the
really,
very end of the game.
it was right there. I said, "Oh no, I done told everybody wrong," and then he hit it at the very end. He was getting some targets, but it's very clear watching that game last week that the Browns want to focus on Quinshon Judkins and the tight ends. That's kind of what they're doing right now. I don't know that I'd play any wide receiver currently against or with the Browns as it is. Couple minutes before break, guys, I need to get opinions on this because we've talked over the past couple of weeks about panic and teams and owners spending too much on players. Yes. And I did that very thing. Okay. I spent too much on a player, but I wanted to make sure that I got that player because I was desperate. And according to Joe Bryant, who is an owner in the SBFFC and footballguys.com, this is a guy that you need to start inserting into your lineups. I was desperate at tight end. Anybody who's watched the show knows that I have Kyle Pitts and Mark Andrews in the main event. And you can't really trust either one of those guys. I went out and spent $307 on A.J. Barner. Now, the reason I spent that much was not because I thought he was worth that. I spent that much because in my division, people bid exorbitant numbers. I needed to make sure that I got this guy on my roster. And so I spend up for A.J. Barner, who has had 2 great weeks and has shown that he is a favorite target of Sam Darnold. Did I spend too much? I can already tell that Krantz thinks I did. But did I spend too much? But is he worth having on your roster and starting? And is he better than the other 2 tight ends that I have? Because I can't be the only fantasy football owner in this position.
Who's your tight end, son?
Kyle Pitts and Mark Andrews.
Okay. Well, I will say the tight ends is just a complete joke. I want to ask Harwood if we can outlaw the tight end position next season for SBFFC.
Well, that's
because it's just. you're just going to go
There'll be a
around
board of
and around.
directors meeting on that one.
You can never spend that much money on anybody for tight ends because the tight end has been devalued this year. Everyone has struggled. There's no one who is emerging at the tight end position. It's just been a carousel. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I bet Hunter Henry's top 30. I mean, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but somebody like that is probably top 3. I just don't see it. Arroyo is really talented. The guy they want to get involved in Seattle. He'll be coming soon. So I wouldn't do it. Just my personal opinion, but I'll let the others talk about it.
Well, I'm gonna say, are you gonna play Barner every week? Are you gonna play him in that?
I mean, as of right now, that's my plan because I mean my other tight end options are trash.
Okay. Ron Hansen. He's an owner over in Chuck's division. Chuck, you know Ron Hansen.
Yep.
He spent $307, I believe, on AJ Barner.
That's what I spent.
And or 303, something like that. Maybe
Over 300.
Yeah.
So that's the market value. So if Seth's buying him for $300 and if Ron Hansen's buying him for that much money, you've got to determine how much FAB these other owners have in your division. You also got to determine you're going to play him every week. If you're going to play him every week, it was worth the money. But if you're looking at him as a 1 week stopgap, no.
I put him in the lineup as soon as I got him, and I intend to keep him in there until Mark Andrews or Kyle Pitts show me I need to play them.
Is Mason Taylor there? That's the guy that I would want. Personally.
I don't think so.
But I would bid like 20 for him, 30 for him. Mason Taylor will help out.
Speaking of Mason Taylor, I've been offered to make a bet, parlay, Matt, and Chuck. And Chuck, you and I won the bet last week.
Mm-hmm.
Should we bet Breece Hall 20 receiving yards over or 20 yards plus? Mason Taylor 25 receiving yards plus.
I would be interested to know, and when I look at receiving backs, I would be interested to know what their rushing and receiving numbers are.
Yeah.
Like what the prop is on that, because I think that has a greater probability of hitting. When you're looking at guys like Gibbs or Hall that are pass catching backs. So I would be curious what that number is. Can he get over 20 yards receiving? Absolutely. He can do that on one catch. I mean, he's very talented. But I would be interested in the rushing and receiving line.
Well, I'm going to say Breece Hall, you may go a whole quarter or a whole half, does nothing.
Yep.
Then one catch, bam.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, I think Denver plays well against the tight ends. I'm not sure I like those props this week, Brian. That's a suicide prop, I think.
Yeah, you came to the Jets this week.
Well, okay. So if you got Breece Hall 15 receiving yards on DraftKings, Mason Taylor 20, that's minus 135. Breece Hall, who had over 25 yards last week, now becomes plus 122. He's averaging 30 receiving yards a week. Taylor averaging 35. But
yeah, they got jet lag now because they have to play these international games. And
they want to.
They're knocked down.
I would
think about 20 yards for all of them.
I'll just put it this way. I would stay away from all Jets bets this week.
that's right.
Yeah, Patrick Surtain is there.
They're playing a really good defense. They're playing in London.
Denver's good.
I just wouldn't go near it.
I wouldn't either, man. You cannot go Jets. These are national games. I mean, I understand the money grab, but they're just awful, guys. Let's just be honest.
Yes and no. They're awful because of the jet lag and you've got two teams having to travel overseas. But I will say this. It is nice to get up at 8:30 in the morning and there be an NFL game on to watch. Just as soon as I start my Sunday.
Yeah, I understand.
Yes, and Seth is cooking his biscuits and gravy in the kitchen.
That's right.
Chuck's wife Christy's cooking up 4 or 5 different bacons and hams and eggs in the kitchen.
Christina's saying, nephew, go to McDonald's. Get your own milk.
Then Hart was eating his Cheerios. I just soaked it all in. Sunday morning you can't help but love Sunday mornings.
I agree.
And you can kind of get an edge on your competition for getting that player that goes up. I don't I'd like for the Sunday games to continue. I'd like to have more kind of Americanized Sunday morning games.
Yeah.
Have like a have the Tennessee Titans play at 8:30 in the morning. I'll save some traffic down there. There's some national traffic down in that.
It'll save some traffic for the other team.
It's got to be more and more international games. We know it's coming. I mean, it's a money grab.
Well, the SBFFC may do a live international draft one day in Singapore.
I'm ready.
I've got OnlyFans. I've been talking to a girl over in Singapore.
Well, let's maybe you can text her during the break because we need to take one of those to pay some love to our sponsors over at Trophy Smack. We'll be right back. You're listening or watching, as it were, the Fantasy Football Power Hour, brought to you by the SBFFC on the TN2M network of shows. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. That was Trophy Smack. Give them a look at trophysmack.com for all of your fantasy championship needs. It doesn't have to be football. It could be any fantasy championship that you have. Trophies, belts, helmets, flags, banners, a shout-out from Dr. Harwood. Whatever you want, you can get it over at trophysmack.com, and we certainly do thank them for sponsoring our show tonight. Guys, one of the things we had on our docket, we have a group text, and we text back and forth on it through the week. And one of the things that was brought up for bullet points for tonight, as we were that was our show prep for the week, was midseason stashes.
Season stashes, yes.
Dr. Harwood, we'll start with you. Is there a player that you like that maybe you can pick up right now that you're not necessarily going to play right away, but somebody that you would like to have on your bench because you think they're going to, I guess, pick it up or have weeks where you can play them to fill bye week holes?
Well, I'm going to tell you something. Me and Matt were talking about Alec Manor off Tennessee Titans. He's going to be good going forward as a second flex. Now, he was drafted in every single league, so I'm talking about him being your second flex and being comfortable this week. In terms of a guy being a free agent, right now, we don't know who the next quarterback's going to be. We don't know the next wide receiver. What I would do, I would scour the waiver wire for any eligible running backs that may still be on the board going forward. I mean, I was thinking maybe Kendre Miller, but he's taking in most of the leagues I'm in because Kamara might be traded. So what I would do, if you want someone to stash, then it's a sure thing. You're going to have to stash week to week streaming defenses as we approach the halfway point of the season and plan ahead. And right now on the free agent wire, there's nobody out there because they've already been taken. They've already been signed with somebody.
Yeah, we're just playing the roulette with wide receivers. You grab somebody, they went off. Next week, they're not going to do anything. I mean, it's just if you're in a high-stakes league like we all are, it's just very tough to find someone on that free agency wire right now. So you just got to play the matchup. It's week to week.
It's week to week, and you've got to predict. Now, I will say this: when the heavy bye weeks come, and there's 4 to 6 teams on a bye week, there's going to be people that's going to be dropping some players out of panic to replace those bye weeks. That's where I would strike when someone drops a player that, I don't need him this week, so I'm going to drop him. Could be a tight end, could be a third-level wide receiver. I would look at some of the wide receivers that have been dropped and then do it that way. But I'll say one more thing. If the Bengals keep going down this downward spiral that they're going down, Chase Brown has not been the fantasy player we expect him to be. Could Todd J. Brooks step in and be a running back toward the playoff run in fantasy?
Yeah, I've got Chase Brown and SBFFC, and it's been a total nightmare. I've got T. Higgins, total nightmare. So That's the main reason I'm 2-3. The
2
Bengals.
touchdowns last week.
And Flacco is not okay. So there's the news, guys. So Flacco's at it. He's going to start. Guys, he's not going to do anything. The offensive line is horrible. He is going to be backpedaling. It's not going to be any different. Maybe the tight ends are more involved.
Fumbling, stumbling.
Maybe Noah Fant, Mike Gesicki, Flacco is going to hone in on. That's the only difference. It's not going to go well.
Yeah, for me, I was looking around in a bunch of leagues. If you want to pick up somebody in stash, Trey Benson was dropped in a lot of leagues, and he'll probably be back in about 3 weeks. That's a good pickup in stash. Another guy that was hot early in the season before the draft because he was probably overhyped a little bit, Jaden Blue. He might be another guy you want to pick up and stash for a hot minute.
Miles Sanders out for the year, so yeah.
Yeah, so those are two guys that I'd have my eye on. At this point they're just dart throws anyway, but we do know when Trey Benson comes back, he's probably going to take that backfield back, and who knows? Javonte Williams gets nicked up. He's going to have Jaden Blue and a very good opportunity.
Now, would you rather take a chance on a running back like a Tajay Brooks or a Benson and spend $5-10 now, or spend $300 when he's announced to be starter?
Completely agree.
Well, I mean, yeah, you want to get on it early, and try to get ahead of that, especially if you've got a roster spot. It's worth noting to anybody watching that maybe is not in one of Dr. Brian Harwood's leagues. Most of the leagues that we're talking about that we play in are 20 roster spots. Yes. So they're much deeper than your traditional leagues. A lot of traditional leagues don't have that many roster spots. So there might be, guys out there, and we certainly will take questions. We're going to burn through all of those, any stardom, set-em questions, any trade questions, etc., that we get in the third segment. Yeah, we got some trade questions as well.
No trading.
Well, Sam Harmon is in a league. He's got a big trade question. It's a deep trade. I'd like to spend a couple of minutes talking about it.
All right, go ahead, Bob. Sorry.
Do you want to talk about that now, or do you want to wait till the sit and start?
Let's wait till the third segment, because that's kind of been where we hit a lot of that stuff. So let's go ahead and wait on that. But before we get to the third segment and stardom sit-ems, one thing that I do want to note, because I'm pretty excited about it, the Fantasy Football Power Hour next week is going to get much more beautiful. And by that I mean it's going to be ladies' night on the 17th. We're going to have 4 female guests on to give their unique perspective on fantasy football this season. We'll have one that will sit in with us on our Stardom Sit-em segment. And it certainly will look a lot nicer than what these ugly mugs do that you're looking at right now. Tune in next week for Ladies' Night here on the Fantasy Football Power Hour. Looking ahead at this week's games, is there any matchup that sticks out to you? Is there any plays that you particularly like, Chuck, looking at this week's matchups and games? Anybody or anything that sticks out that you're like, I want to try to get either a bet on that or maybe a fan ball play, or if you've got a player in your lineup, potentially in your lineup, any of these matchups stick out to you this week?
Well, I like the Bills Falcons matchup. I think that's going to be a really good game. It has potential to be a high scoring game with it being in Atlanta. You're playing indoors, so I'm interested in that, and I'm also interested at not only as being a fan of the Commanders, but the Commanders-Bears game. That's got some early season seriousness to it. You got picks 1 and 2 from last year going against each other again on on Monday night. And that's a NFC matchup, and both teams are starting to play a little bit better. So that's another game that I'm very interested to see. And if you guys are looking to pick up and stash a defense for the rest of the year, the Patriots have a very easy schedule coming up for the next 5 or 6 weeks. That'd be a defense you might want to pick up and use for 3-4 weeks coming up.
Braves will have him playing. I guarantee you that.
Yep.
Would you play a May Stephon Diggs stack on Fanball or FanDuel this week?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, potentially. I would need to see the prices on them, but I mean, I might like potentially Kendrick Bourne more.
Now,
It just depends on the price.
Diggs shot his shot versus his former team. I just don't see him doing it 2 weeks in a row. I could be wrong, obviously, but I don't like that.
You've got a Lions.
Lions and Chiefs is very intriguing to me. We got high over under at 52.5.
Bills and Falcons 50.
We're gonna see the Chiefs, finally lose a little bit of touch that they've had over the recent years. So it's gonna be interesting to see how they bounce back. And then this Amon St. Brown just ridiculous. You're gonna see him. It doesn't matter the matchup with him. I'm interested to see how Jared Goff does on the road. And then Patrick Mahomes with Terry and Arnold is out this game for the Lions. So the Lions are going to be shorthanded in the secondary. So can Mahomes finally push the football down the field? Will Tyreek Thornton do something? Will Xavier Worthy be okay? Or will he limp off and come back next play? So that's a game that I'm really looking forward to.
I think for me, the game that has the most, maybe not the most upside, but I think is going to be a shootout is Seahawks-Jaguars. Both these teams are putting up points. They're putting up over 20 in all but one of their games each, I think. But they've been involved in shootouts. I think this is going to be another shootout this week. In terms of fantasy, I would try to get a piece of that game if I could. Whether that's Kenneth Walker or Smith and Jigba or Barner or Etienne, etc. I think that's a matchup that I like in terms of fantasy because I think this is going to be a shootout. I don't know what the over is, but I'd probably take the over in this game.
Well, for Seattle, I've been on Smith and Jigba all season. I've been on Kenneth Walker, and the Seahawks Jaguars 47.5. But they're traveling to Jacksonville.
I'd take that.
77 degrees outdoors. Going to be beautiful, beautiful day Sunday and everything. And
47.5. That's respectable over.
It's the respect. And then Cowboys Panthers. Rico Dowdell. Can he have a revenge game?
He is going to score, boys. It's happening.
Okay, we need to go ahead and bet.
He's going against the Cowboys, his former team. Dallas has got me Harwood back there in secondary, so. It's going to happen.
Jerry Jones.
That's guarantee of the week. Dallas scores.
We're going to bet that as soon as the show's over. And Jerry Jones is going to have another reason to display the number one sign to the opposing team's fan base. You think last week was something? Whenever Jerry Jones, when he takes his Geritol and puts his Depends on, he's going to be lively again when the Panthers upset the Cowboys this week.
I mean, does he turn into Bud Adams?
No, because Jerry Jones has brain
cells. They also had the my bad.
And he's also got a business acumen.
They also do the middle fingers. I'm going to be fined $20 for the middle fingers on the podcast.
Jerry Jones got Super Bowl rings. Bud Adams rings.
That's true. By the way, I was at that game where he did that.
I was there too.
I was sitting in the fourth row. It was the best seats I've ever had to a game. Was it the Eagles? It was the Bills. Yeah, okay, that's right. Yeah, I was at that game. A buddy of mine called me up. His family has had tickets forever, and he said, "Hey, I don't have anybody to go with. Do you want to go to the game?" And I said, "Sure," because why not? And we were sitting 4 rows up on the 50 on the visitor side, and it was the best seats I ever had to an NFL game.
They were 0-6 at the time, and it was Vince Young's return to action with benching Kerry Collins and Bud Adams. The only ring he had is when he pawned some ring over at Gallatin over at the pawn shop.
If you're 85 years old, I'd be giving middle fingers too.
Well, when the coach says, Bud Adams, can we do this? Bud Adams like, uh-huh.
Well, we're gonna step away for just a moment so that we can take some get some more comments in the comment section. Special thanks to everybody that has commented already. We're going to do our start 'em, set 'em trade questions. After the break, we're going to hear another word from our sponsors at Trophy Smack. You're listening to the Fantasy Football Power Hour, brought to you by the SBFFC on the TN2M network of shows. Be back in a minute after a word from our sponsors. That was a word from Trophy Smack. Check them out, trophysmack.com, for all of your fantasy championship needs: trophies, belts, helmets, flags, banners, chains, Dr. Harwood, whatever you need, they've got it over there at trophysmack.com. Guys,
we're going to have Dr. Harwood chains on Trophy Smack next year for the
nice.
Sign me up.
Sign me up.
Let's get to some of these start 'em, set 'em questions. They came in early tonight. The Wraith has a trio of questions. Let's get some quick hitters. Chuck, we'll start with you here. Juwan Johnson or David Njoku?
Juwan Johnson's done.
Yeah, I'm going with David Njoku here. Johnson shot his wad. He's done.
You got to take some hits back. You got it's over.
I'm going to go with David Njoku as well, with Dylan Gabriel.
Drop Johnson. It's over.
With David Njoku, the Browns love hitting both those tight ends. They run a lot of 12 personnel with Gabriel. They're not stretching the field. They're just a lot of dink and dunk. So I think you're going to get more out of Njoku. Wraith also asked, Justin Fields or Bo Nix?
Bo Nix for me. They're playing each other, and I think the Jets' defense is a little Swiss cheesed. So I would go with Nix in that matchup.
I'm going to go Justin Fields because I think he'll run in a touchdown.
I'm going to go Bo Nix. I think he's looked good the past couple of weeks. So give me Bo Nix there, Dr. Harwood.
Okay, well, if it really depends on your opponent, Ray. If you start Fields, be prepared for nothing until the second half.
Yeah.
If you want somebody that's consistent, and if you want for sure points, and if either you or your opponent has Cortland Sutton, start Nix. If not, you can start Mr. Fields.
All right. Wraith also asked, Kendrick Bourne, Derrick Henry, or Chris Olave in the flex this week? I don't think you can bench Derrick Henry. I just think he's capable. No. I think he's capable at any time of rolling off 150 and 2 touchdowns. He's not shown that so far. But if these are your three options, I'm taking Derrick Henry here.
I'll take Chris Olave because Derrick Henry, he's a Hall of Famer. He's going to go in the Hall of Fame. Me and Harwood will be there, by the way.
Yes.
But it's over. You got Cooper Rush throwing like 10-yard passes. It's over. Chris Olave.
I would Kendrick Bourne. You've got Ricky Pearsall and Juwan James. You got to watch their game status, but they're going to play. Bourne's got the talent, but I would not start him if you can only start that one flex. Wraith, we're going to go balls to the wall here. I'm going to start Olave over Derrick Henry because if he can get 6 catches, he might break one for a touchdown. Derrick Henry's going to probably break something in the locker room.
Okay, I will say, I hope this is a PPR because if you're in a PPR, Olave's your man, dude. Every game, he averages 7 catches a game. He will get 7 catches. That's what you need in PPR.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen. It is so hard to bench Derrick Henry, but I mean, I would have to go with Olave in this one. I'm fighting that Henry struggle bus myself, and I think I'm going with Olave in a PPR.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something. Mr. Henry, old Harwood himself, bet $100 on Henry under the 88.5 rushing yards. That was the easiest $100 I've ever won. Ever since I was at Schaefer Middle School playing tiddlywinks with the NCAA bracket pools.
Sam Harmon, who wins this trade? Breece Hall and Drake London for Jahmyr Gibbs.
Okay, Sam Harmon.
Whoever gets Gibbs, you need to take it.
Okay, let me tell you something, Mr. Harmon.
You need to take Gibbs. Who cares? Gibbs the answer.
Okay, well, I'm going to agree with you on that because I said, Sam, he's already got his team. He's got Dak Prescott, Breece Hall, Kyron Williams, Emeka Egbuka, who Matt now is going to win $750 when he gets announced the AP Offensive Rookie of the Year. He's got London, Warren, Diggs, and Franklin. Bucky Irvin's hurt on his bench. Rashid Rice comes back next week. What he's doing, he's trading Hall for Diggs. Not for Diggs, but for Gibbs. He's trading Hall for Gibbs straight up. That's already a upgrade at that moment. So the question is now, can Rice be a good substitute for London? That's who's going to go in that lineup. Rice
I think,
Rice or Irvin?
Well, Rice is going to go in next week. London is not going to do anything this week. He has a horrible matchup against the Bills. London is just a plotter. He'll get you 5 for 60. Gibbs is a home run upside pick who can go off at any moment. The answer you get Gibbs.
Chuck, your main league, the if not first, your last league, has trade offers like this every week. What do you see here?
This is very similar to trades we see. The best player in this trade is Gibbs. And when it comes into question, you always take the best player in the trade. So I'm going with the Gibbs side on this.
I will as well go the Gibbs side. Although I don't know that it's, I have a hard time with semantics with the idea of who wins the trade. Well, I don't know the two teams, so it's hard for me to say, well, this player won the trade. I will say if you're just saying, hey, who gets the better deal? I guess it's Gibbs because he's one of the best players in the NFL. He's the top 3 or 4 pick in most fantasy leagues. However, if you're a team that you're struggling for depth, you're struggling. Maybe you drafted Derrick Henry. Maybe you drafted, one of the neighbors or somebody like that. Then I could see this being a favorable trade for who's getting London and Hall. But just at the surface, the best player is Gibbs in this trade, and that's who I would side with here. And
also too, Gibbs will take the place of Hall in that lineup. But if he trades off London, he's going to start either Rashid Rice or Bucky Irvin. That's going to be the key there.
I mean, that's a pretty good situation to be in, though. If we're being honest.
I think you pull. Pull means yes.
All right. Next up from Antonio Lopez, trade PPR Pickens and Judkins for Achane and Quentin Johnston.
Quentin Johnston, I think is.
Man, I mean, dude, it's just like, what are you doing? You just trading for trading? Like, to me, this is just okay. Like, you just want to trade.
I would say that whoever is getting Judkins and Pickens is getting the better end of this deal. With CeeDee Lamb having an ankle issue, they're aiming next week, I think, for him to be back. But you don't know. This just seems
like you're trading to trade to me. Like it does.
I don't think Quentin Johnston is as consistent as what Pickens and Judkins will be. Achane and Judkins, I think, is a wash. I think Judkins is going to end up being a top 10 running back going forward, and the only Brown I would have in my lineup. But I think with the uncertainty of CeeDee Lamb and how ankle injuries tend to linger, Pickens is a number 1 guy. Johnson's not the number 1 in LA.
He's probably
probably the third.
He's top 10 so far this season, but
he has been, but he wasn't last week, and we don't know that's going to continue moving forward.
4 out of 5 weeks is kind of a trend, but I mean, I hear you. I understand what you're saying.
There's a lot of mouths to feed there. You've got McConkey, you've got Keenan Allen. The running back situation's uncertain there right now.
Boomer bust, like he can go off or he can do nothing.
Well, I mean, you can make the same argument for Quentin Johnston. Quentin Johnston.
Yeah, that's my point. Is like this trade is just like you're just swapping. Like there's no winner. It's the same percent.
I think Quentin Johnston outscores Achane the rest of the season. Because I'm still staying with my guns, and Quinshon is going to be a top 12 running back.
Achane gets 7 catches to Judkins. What? One.
Well, I tell you what that part of that hinges on. If Tua is healthy, then I think Judkins and Achane are kind of even. If Tua gets another concussion and he's out, I think that affects the value of Achane. I think the quarterback play is important there.
What's Chuck say?
Well, for me, it goes back to what we all can agree on. Dallas's defense is trash, and there's going to be a lot of opportunities for Pickens. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I'm pretty sure that Dak is top 6 fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Pickens is top 6 fantasy. Williams is top 6 fantasy, and Mr. Ferguson is top 6 fantasy. So if this trade is actually on the table, it's probably just trading because you're bored. But if I had to pick a side, I had to pick a side, I would take Pickens and Quinshon Judkins there.
Yeah, no, I don't think that there's a clear you're jumping ahead, 10 spaces or whatever for this trade.
Yeah.
But if I'm picking a side here, I like Pickens and Judkins, but I don't know why this is a trade. Antonio also wants to know: do you start Travion Henderson or Derrick Henry in a PPR?
It's like being the nicest guy in the prison.
Dude.
It's like I told a student of mine today, son, is that gum or rat poison in your mouth? If it's gum, spit it out. That's what I think about the trade.
I would go Henry because Henderson, Vrabels is very hardcore. He's a guy who benched Derrick Henry his first 2 years for Deion Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
So, Henderson, we all love him. He's sexy. I love the guy. He's going to go off eventually, but, you got to go Derrick Henry over Henderson.
I agree. You got to go
Henry
because
that's like
I'm gonna
horse manure to cow manure there.
I'm gonna go with Henry as well because at least he's getting the touches with the Patriots. It looks like Ramondre has really solidified himself as more of the go-to back than Henderson. That doesn't mean Henderson can't take that spot, but I'm going with what I know is a sure thing, and I know for sure Derrick Henry's going to get touches. Now, what he does with those –
me and Harwood as Titans fans, we know for sure Vrabels is hard-headed as well. So
yes.
He's not going to go off of Stevenson.
That's exactly right.
All right, I'm going through our list here.
We're going to answer we're good.
Let's see. Oh, here we go. Alvin Kamara or Rashad White? I think
White by
Rashad
a million.
White.
Because Kamara is done. It's over.
Well, plus
he went from 55% snap rate to now. Last week was a 43% snap rate. He's losing carries to Keandre Miller. It's over for Kamara.
I'm going White because Kamara got hurt in practice yesterday too. He hurt his ankle in practice yesterday, so I'm going with White.
All right. Jackson says, who wins this trade? They get Breece Hall and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Other person gets Saquon and DK. This is Chuck's league.
St. Brown. Whoever gets St. Brown wins this trade.
Saquon is that obviously can run this year. After a crazy year last year, there's always regression. It's happening. Metcalf, boom or bust. The only player worth anything in this trade is St. Brown.
St. Brown.
St. Brown is a first-round fantasy player, could be a league winner. And Jackson, with the winner of this trade is going to be the one that's going to be the first, the buffet table next year at Chuck's draft. Depends on when Christy cooks that chili. That's going to be the one. That's right.
Galaxy Pickers wants to know: would you trade K9 and Worthy for Judkins and Pollard?
Who is K9 again? Is that the dog down there at the Humane Society? Who is K9?
I was wondering the same thing. I thought y'all could.
I don't know what K9 is, but Worthy for Judkins and Pollard. Judkins and Pollard because Rice is coming back next week, right?
Rice.
Kenneth Walker.
Yeah,
Walker is good, but they do not give him goal line carries. Zach Charbonnet gets goal line carries. So Walker.
I would listen. If again, best player in this trade right now is Quinshon Judkins.
Yeah,
Judkins is going to be a top.
I agree.
Yep. Judkins is going to be a top 10 running back. Yes, I think moving forward every week. Or at least flirting with that top 10. Yes, if you're on the end that receives Quinshon Judkins, I think you've got to take this. If you're giving up Judkins, you keep him at this point.
I agree.
Yep. I agree.
I agree, so.
All right. Should I trade? This is from Jeffrey. He says, should I trade Sutton and Etienne for Javante and Nico? Says he knows Nico's on a bye, but has Amon-Ra, BTJ, Tet, Genty, AK, and Jordan Mason on my team. Everyone thinks Nico is better.
Javante Williams is going to go off against Carolina. I mean,
Yeah.
Carolina's run defense is C. Just look week to week. It's a week-to-week league, Jeffrey.
Yes.
I mean, if you want points this week, get Javante Williams on your team. Who cares?
Yeah,
Sutton has a tough matchup against Sauce Gardner and the Jets. I mean, Sutton is boring. He'll get 5 catches for 55 yards. May score. ETN, I mean, he will wear down. Guy Tootin's going to take over eventually. I would go Javante and Nico.
Brandon Murchison's guy is too.
Agreed. I'd go Nico because I think Nico's the best player in that trade. So I'm going Nico and Williams.
I agree. Nico and Williams for me as well. Steven is joining us. Kim wants to know. Shout out to Kim, a great owner in the SBFFC and the SBFFC satellite leagues.
Who is the boss of that team, by the way? She runs that roster.
Full PPR Superflex, Daniel Jones, Trevor Lawrence, Tua, or Justin Fields. This is easy for me. I think it's the first two. I think it's Daniel Jones and Trevor Lawrence, and I don't think it's close.
No, Trevor Lawrence, he had a good game last week, yes, but he has only finished top 12 quarterback in 1 start out of the last 12. Justin Fields is going to get garbage time. Don't watch the first half, Kim. Just ignore Fields for 3/4 of the game and guarantee you he's going to run a touchdown. He'll score some garbage points. Daniel Jones, Justin Fields.
I've got Trevor Lawrence at 33 pass attempts, and you're not going to make that bet. I think it's going to be Lawrence and Daniel Jones. If you want consistency, if you want somebody that can go buck wild, then I'd go Jones and Fields. You know this family better than anybody, and they're going to be the second coming of Stephanie McMahon and Triple H. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I'm going definitely Daniel Jones, and I'm going Trevor Lawrence. I'm just afraid of Fields' matchup against Denver, and Tua is a 15-point guy every week. So Jones and Lawrence for me.
Yeah, I see. I like Trevor Lawrence because I like that matchup this week. I think that could be the highest scoring matchup, the highest total this week with the Seahawks. I mean, if this depend on the matchup, this might change for me week to week. But this week, I agree. I think it's Jones and Lawrence. Pete Samios wants to know McConkey, Tet, Waddle, or Judkins, who rides the bench. So I'm assuming one of these is out.
Oh man, Pete, dude, your team's loaded, man. What are you drafted against?
I'm setting Pete loaded.
I'm setting McConkey here.
I'm setting McConkey. Yep, McConkey's sitting for me.
Pat's going to score his first touchdown this week, guaranteed. Waddle without Hill is awesome. Judkins is a stud.
Yep.
McConkey is the guy you got to
McConkey just got to bench him, man. Just not happening.
Well, we're coming up on the end of the show, but I wanted to give time to this, so let's finish it out with this because we've ran through all of our comments, all of our stardoms and setums.
Here we go, Brownies. Here.
Chuck, what's on your mind tonight?
So the Chuck Serious talk tonight. We're going to talk about Mr. Zach Orr, the defensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens. A once great established defense in the NFL and fantasy is absolutely atrocious. We got a team that's got some of the best corners, physical corners in the NFL, and you're dropping back into zone every single play. The NFL league average for zone is 33%. The Ravens play zone over 50% of the time.
Ooh.
They're getting picked apart. They are sending 4 guys at the quarterback who are being blocked by all the offensive linemen. You don't have enough guys putting pressure on the quarterback. You're just sitting back and getting destroyed. Bring these corners up to the line of scrimmage. Challenge these wide receivers. Put some pressure on the quarterback. The Baltimore Ravens should never be giving up 44 points to anybody. You're taking Derrick Henry out of the game. He can't run the damn ball anymore.
Runs
Play
like
some defense.
But he used
You
to.
can't do the same thing every week and expect a different result. This is terrible. Mr. Orr, I know you're not listening to this, but you have got to go back to being more physical with these corners because you're getting eaten alive. And that's my serious talk for this week.
Ron Stoodle said that if something is not work, you don't need to exploit your failures. You've got to try something different. And
Well, that's the
Ron
definition of
Stoodle-
insanity, isn't it?
Yep.
Do the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
Right.
I agree with you, but as a Browns fan, I love watching the Ravens take it on the chin. One final stardom set question, because I've not seen this person in our chat ever. Ryle wants to know Matthew Golden or Kendrick Bourne.
Matthew Golden or Kendrick Bourne.
I'm going Matthew Golden here this week.
If the PPR, if Kendrick Bourne will get, if Jennings and Pearsall's out, Bourne. If one of the other is not out, then probably Golden if you need upside.
I think I'm going to go Golden, but if it does come out that Jennings and Pearsall are both out, I think you start Bourne there. But if one of those play, I agree. I think you go Golden here. Guys, final thoughts tonight before we wrap up the show.
I appreciate you guys having me on tonight. It's been a pleasure, man. This is so entertaining. Harwood, go ahead, buddy.
And
Thank you for having
also kudos to your lovely wife for letting you out of the house tonight to
Thank you, Chris.
be a part of this operation tonight. And going to be the highest rated show of all time today. My closing thought is this: are the Buffalo Bills Chris Berman team and the AFC says, will the Bills have a consistent number one wide receiver the rest of the way besides James Cook, who's going to get volume? Is it Dalton Kincaid? Is that the top wide receiver? Shakir's in the mix. Who's going to be that number one Buffalo Bills wide receiver going forward?
No one.
It's different every week. I don't think they have a consistent number one.
They have one. They didn't draft one next year.
Chuck, final thoughts tonight.
Guys, I appreciate you every single week. This is definitely one of the highlights of my week. Everybody, please join in and tune in next week for Ladies Night. Not sure anybody else is doing this. I think it's going to be interesting. Our ladies are very intelligent and they know what they're doing. Tune in next week for Ladies Night.
Yeah, in fact, that's going to be the title of the show, just Ladies Night. I'm not even going to put anything else in to try to get some more viewers.
I prefer divas. I prefer the SBFFC divas. And your lovely wife, the first lady of fantasy football, Christy Ellis, is going to be on the show. You also have another league member who's hasn't had the experience that some of these other ladies have had. She's going to be on the show as well. We're going to have Miss Pam Hardy, who has won several division titles and a couple of dynasty titles in the SBFFC. Very experienced owner, and she knows just as much as any other male owner or female owner involved. And Amber Phillips for the Fantasy Sports Advice Network. She is going to promote this show heavy and hard next week to get some more viewers and get some more interest in there. Amber Phillips from Nashville, Tennessee, first year in the SBFFC, and she is in the top 25 overall in points in SBFFC.
Well, she's certainly beating me then. But that doesn't take much this year.
Mm-hmm.
And we would have Matt on the show, but I don't want you all losing your license and charter due to FCC violation. it is that correct, stud.
You got that damn right.
Well, my final thoughts tonight's the same as last week. With these London games, get up early, set your lineups, look at injuries, look at inactives to make sure that you don't have somebody in there and fill those bye week holes. Don't be one of those people that leave a player in on a bye week. A little more forgivable if you don't see an injury, but if it's a bye week, there's no excuse. Get up, check your lineups, and then watch some football. That's going to do it for the Fantasy Football Power Hour, brought to you by the SBFFC on the TN2M network of shows. For Chuck, for Krantz, and Dr. Harwood, I'm Seth Burchett, and you've been listening to the Fantasy Football Power Hour.
Good night, everybody.